Hi family, welcome back to another cooking vlog. So on today's episode we are having Asun Jollof Rice and our proteins are Titus fish and goat meat. Now for my fish I marinated with salt, curry, thyme and half of one knorr cube. There are two cubes in knorr cubes are two. You're just going to use half of one piece. And now we're going to let our fish fry and all ingredients used should be in moderate quantities because you do not want your fish to be over salty when it's ready. Our fish is ready. Now we have to season our goat meat. Now we are looking for all the flavors that we can get while boiling this. Like you have to use the adequate amount of spice and all that. First of all, we are going in with my blended garlic and ginger paste, then salt. Since I already listed out the ingredients I used up there in the video, let's just follow the video. When it gets to where I need to speak, I will speak. You must understand that when cooking jollof rice, there is no amount of spice that is ever too much. You just have to make do with what you have in adequate amount. Emphasis on adequate amount. You might think all of this is too much for the quantity I'm making, but the broth of your protein is what you would use to cook your jollof rice. Even if you have to add water, it's just going to be a little amount of water. I needed pepper in my goat meat, so I had to, cut a scotch bonnet pepper into two and just, add it in there. My tomato mix already has tomatoes, ginger, garlic, tatashe and shombo. If I'm going to use that, it's going to give me a sour taste, and that's why I didn't use it. Now we're just going to let this cook in its own juice. No addition of water, just on a low heat. After about 5 minutes or thereabout, you can now add water so it could cook well. But how you would know that you bought a good meat is that it produces its own water initially without you adding any water. You would, when obviously after that 5 minutes, you would see water in it. Then you can now pour in more liquid so it can cook well. Here is the tomato mix I spoke about. There are different methods to use to cook jollof rice. You can naturally add your tomatoes, tatashe, shombo, and all that in a pot, season them, and put cook them on low heat. Then when the water content in them is dried, then you blend. But my blender can't carry that heat, so I have to blend and then cook on low heat. Now we are going to fry our goat meat. I'm using local Nigerian rice in this video, but whichever rice you would be using, basmati, foreign rice or whatsoever, just make sure you wash your rice properly until the water is clear. I had to use sieve at this point. Don't forget I'm using local Nigerian rice, so I want every impurities out, stones or whatever. I want it to pass through the sieve without losing any quantity of rice. love cutting my onion in circular form, and the reason is because when I cook with that shape, it ends up coming out long. I don't know if you understand, or you would see what I'm talking about in the video. You can, if you're someone who does not like seeing onions, you blend yours. If you're someone who doesn't really like seeing it so visibly, you just have to chop it so tiny. But when cooking jollof rice, I love cutting mine in this shape, so at least so it comes out very long. In making the rice, we have to use the oil that we used to fry. You can sieve yours if you want. Mine didn't have any um, particles in it. The white stuff you're seeing there is the fish skin. However way you choose to do yours is fine. Just make sure you use the oil that you used to fry. It already has flavor than using a plain oil. Now we'll go in with our onions and just give it a stir. Then going with our garlic and ginger paste. I went in with all of that, like all of it. I just want enough flavor and aroma for my jollof rice. For our tomato paste, we'll be using 2 sachets of Gino tomato mix. The one mixed with pepper and onion and Asun tomato mix. Now, one thing I want you to understand when it comes to Gino tomato mix, they are all different flavors. There's the plain one, then there's this green colored one that's for jollof rice, jollof tomato mix. Then there's Asun, then there's the pepper and onion. Now each of them has different flavors and aroma that they put to your meal. If you're someone who cooks with, if you've tried using different tomato paste, you notice that they all come out with a different smell and aroma. So you just have to choose the right one for your meal. I went in with curry and thyme, just to add more flavor to the oil while frying the tomato mix. Now you have to fry this on low heat, but you have to keep stirring to get rid of the sour taste. And after some minutes, when you see that it's already getting to the point where it's burning, you go in with your already boiled blended tomato mix, the one you added your shampoo and all that. Yeah, that's when you go in with them, and then you keep stirring. You keep stirring on low heat, please. Emphasis on low heat. Now we are going to add our goat meat broth. You want to sieve your broth because you do not want the stuffs that you put inside to, be in your rice, especially when you cut them in junky forms, like in big forms. For example, the pepper I put, it was in big form, and you don't want that in your rice. What you need is the flavored broth already for your rice. So you just have to give that a good mix and adjust taste when necessary. If you taste it, allow it to fry first of all, then you taste. If you need to add more salt, you add more salt. If you need to add more Maggi, you add more Maggi, whichever way. This mixture you see right here before I added the rice is now a stew base. You can scoop some of it out and make another portion of jollof rice when you're ready. You're just going to add salt and Maggi because depending on the quantity you're making. You can also use that to make stew. That's why they call it a stew base, because it's already properly flavored. All you need to do is put in your protein and maybe adjust the taste a bit depending on the quantity of whatever you're making. Now we've gone in with our washed rice. I already told you all how to wash your rice. Wash your rice until the water is clear. That's when you know that your rice is ready. Now you just are going to add a little water. I said that before, that the main ingredient for your jollof rice is your broth and whatever you put into the pot when you're frying your tomato mix. I mean your tomato paste. You just have the water has to be a little bit above the rice. We are not cooking this rice with plenty water, the way you normally boil your white rice or make village rice or whatsoever. We're using a very little quantity of water. Now I'm going to use my foil to just cover the pot. The emphasis or the aim of this foil is to trap the air, to trap the vapor from escaping from the pot, because it's the vapor that will make the rice swell, that will make the rice get to the point where it's soft or ready to eatable. So if it's escaping from the pot, you would have to now, like, it's going to be burning more, like you have to add water. But if the the water vapor is not escaping from the pot, that's what makes the rice swell. Let's tidy up our kitchen while the rice is cooking. And thanks to Morning Fresh, it does the work for me. It cleans my dishes so well. And the funny part of all of this is a little quantity goes a long way. It lathers well and it has this refreshing, pleasant smell. Oh my god. Let's prep for our asun. I mean the goat meat. I wanted every color of bell pepper I could get, but I didn't see the green one, so I made do with the yellow and red. Back to the rice. You want to always check your rice within the intervals of 30 to 40 minutes. Now watch the way I'm stirring the rice. I'm not turning it like I'm turning stew or soup. I am just flipping and flipping the upside to the downside, like making sure the upper part of the rice is now at the bottom. Just turning it back, upside down, upside down. I'm not turning it like eba or turning it like soup. After about 15 or 20 minutes, you come check your rice, you turn it the same way, flip to the back and like that. Now, one thing about jollof rice is it will test your patience. If you're someone that multitasks, this will not be a big deal for you. Jollof rice takes a very good smoky jollof rice takes time. So you just leave it on the fire and go do whatever you want to do. You won't even realize that 15-20 minutes has passed. Then you taste it to know if it's still hard. If it's still hard, a little bit hard or not edible yet, you leave it to continue cooking. Another thing I must tell you is jollof, if you want to get that smoky flavor, that smoky, that burnt patty jollof, it must burn. Not burn like quarter or half of the rice, or no. It's just going to burn a little to get that burnt smell. More reason why when you're cooking, if you know it's 3 cups of rice that is required of your meal, you have to add a little. So at least after your rice is ready and everything, you're going to get the exact quantity of 3 cups of rice. That's why you have to add a little. That little is the one that will burn. I hope you understand. If you noticed in the video, I opened the pot again, meaning I left it for some time after I tasted that it was still not edible yet. Now the rice is ready. It's now coming out one. Then you go in with your butter. My oil is from King's, my butter is from King's. Just go in with an adequate amount of butter. Now the purpose of this butter is because it gives that shiny look, that that glowy look. And it's also, in as much as I don't normally, even without the butter, my rice is already coming out, it's already singular, like single, but the butter still, helps. Without the butter, my rice is good to go. And I think this is just for righteousness sake, but I've noticed that it actually makes the rice shine, and it gives it that glowy look. I transferred the rice to the other side of the gas so we can prep for our asun. Now you're going to go in with the oil that you used to fry if it's still remaining. If it's no longer remaining, a plain oil is good. It's all good. Now if you notice I cut the onion roughly, it's because it's going to come out in chunky forms. That if you've eaten asun, it's not, the onion is not always chopped tiny. Yeah. So you just go in with the onion, stir, going with pepper mix. Now for this I just use scotch bonnet only. Scotch bonnet and shombo only. Added water into the blender and just pour into the pot. I brought the camera closer. Now we're going with our knorr cubes. Not cube, sorry, cube. I think I didn't even use a cube. I used half of one, then a little pinch of salt. Our rice is already ready, so you don't need all those extra this thing. Then you go in with your bell pepper. Bell pepper. I'm actually tired, but you would understand. This doesn't have to be a perfect voiceover. So normally it is always the meat before the bell peppers, but me, I want the bell peppers to have some flavor. Yeah, I don't want it to be much on fire. So I went in with my fried goat meat already. If you notice, they're already in small sizes, and just stir. Now our asun is ready. Honestly, that was really spicy. The asun is actually very spicy. That is why it is called Asun Jollof Rice. So we're going to pour in our goat meat mixture into the jollof rice and properly mix together. There you have it, besties, a detailed video on how to make Asun Jollof Rice. One thing I love about Enugu is foodstuffs is actually very cheap than Lagos where I come from. I got this goat meat for 2,000 naira. For you to know that eating healthily as a student or eating well as a student doesn't really cost much here. Not in Lagos here. You won't see goat meat in Lagos for 2,000. Let me know if you'll be trying this recipe in the comment section. Please support me by liking, commenting, and most importantly subscribing. It does not take any dime from you. Thank you all. God bless you. See you in my next video. Have a lovely day, morning, night, depending on the time you're watching this. And this rice actually came out really nice. Trust me.